والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أما بعد. Before Ramadan, and for the past many months, we have been having our session in regards to perfecting our Salah. And we have discussed many different masail and many different rulings related to Salah and how to perfect our Salah. So inshallah we will continue post Ramadan, since Ramadan is over. Today is our 58th session in regards to this topic, mashallah. Today's topic will be in regards to straightening the sufuf, straightening the rows in Salah, and how important this act is, the significance of straightening the rows in Salah. In a hadith of Sahih Muslim, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says that, reported by Anas radiallahu anhu, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says, فَتْسَوُّوا صُفُوفَكُمْ فَإِنَّ تَسْوِيَةَ الصُّفُوفِ مِنْ تَمَامِ الصَّلَاةِ. And there's many similar narrations to this. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says that, سَوُّوا صُفُوفَكُمْ, that straighten your sufuf, because verily indeed the straightening of the sufuf is from the completion of the salah. Meaning that if the sufuf are not straight, then it is as if the salah is not complete. And an hadith of Nu'man ibn Bashir radiallahu anhu, he says that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would straighten our sufuf the way someone would who would straighten our sufuf, and he give a lot of importance to this. And once he understood that we had straightened the sufuf, then he stopped emphasizing it. In some narrations, it comes at just how an archer straightens an arrow in the bow. If someone has ever done archery, then you know that in order to shoot straight, you have to ensure that the arrow is straight inside the bow. You have to straighten the arrow, make sure it's straight, and then you shoot the arrow. So this is how you straighten the arrow inside the bow. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam would straighten our sufuf as if he's straightening an arrow. It comes in some narrations. So Nu'man ibn Bashir radiallahu anhu, he said that once Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam understood that we have understood the concept of straightening the sufuf, then he stopped reminding us of it. Then once Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam he came, and he saw when he came to the front, the first thing he would always, one thing about Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was very particular about the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum, what they were doing, how they were doing it, each and every aspect. And he would stop them, or he would reprimand them, or he would inform them if they were doing anything wrong, no matter what it was related to. So one time he came for the salah, and he looked and he saw that someone's chest in the first row was ahead of the saf, meaning someone was standing ahead of the others. Now in our masajid, we have the carpet which has a row inside. We have the carpet which has a place where we need to place our feet. Still our sufuf are not straight. Back in the days, there was no rows, right? There was only a dirt floor, and they had to straighten the sufuf themselves. There was no lines in the carpet. There was no carpet to begin with. There was no lines in the floor, right? So they had to straighten their own sufuf. So he saw that one person was standing ahead. His chest was sticking out. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he reprimanded that person. Right? And he said, after looking at him, that Ibadallah, لَتُسَوُّنَّ صُفُوفَكُمْ أَوْ لَيُخَالِفُونَ اللَّهَ بَيْنَ وُجُوهِكُمْ. Now here we come to the point that what is the significance? What is the importance of straightening the sufuf? Why was so much emphasis given to it? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave emphasis. Sahaba radiallahu anhum gave emphasis. Because in this hadith, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that, oh, dear servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you should definitely straighten the rows. Why? Otherwise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cause discoordination amongst yourselves. Meaning that if the sufuf are not straight, then this will be a means, or this will be a reason of our hearts not being attached to each other. So if you want to be attached to each other, you want to feel the brotherhood between the believers, you have to make sure rows are straight. There's no spot left in between. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if there's any empty spot, then shaitan will come and take that spot. Right? So he would be very particular in regards to straightening the sufuf. And in one hadith, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned that inni la arakum min khalfi kama arakum min bayna yaday. In one hadith, he mentioned that I can see you from the back of my head, whether your sufuf are straight or not, just how I can see you from in front of me. Now the commentators of hadith, they mentioned that this was the mu'jiza of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he would be facing forward, but he would be able to see the Sahaba from the back of his head. Right? Now why this is the hadith? It's true, it's in the hadith. The scholars mentioned, the commentators of hadith mentioned, that why was Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam given this ability? Because he was a prophet, he was a Nabi, he was in charge of making sure that the Sahaba radiallahu anhum were doing everything correctly. If he's facing salah in the front, he's leading the salah in the front, how is he supposed to see in the back if the Sahaba are standing properly, not standing properly, what are they doing? So Allah gave him this ability that he could see from the back of his head, and it was as if he had a camera and he could see what they're doing in the back. So if they were doing anything wrong, then you could tell them that you're doing it wrong. Yourself is not straight. You did not perform this act or this posture properly. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was given this special ability from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Nabi Sallallahu would give a lot of importance to this. Umar radiallahu anhu also give importance. And he would go to the extent that he would have a danda with him. If he saw anyone is not standing straight, he would use that danda to make sure that the line is straight. So this is how much importance he would give to the straightening of sufuf. And Uthman radiallahu anhu, after him also, he would make sure this, he wouldn't start the salah until the rows are straight. And both of them, they appointed special individuals in every saf who would make sure every saf is straight. So, for example, we have one uncle here, one brother there that, okay, you're in charge of this stuff, you're in charge of that stuff. Make sure everybody is standing correctly. And until they did not inform him that the sufuf were straight, they would not start the salah. Right? So, this is a very important action, and they would give a lot of importance to this. And, we can tell from these different narrations how much importance they would give to this action. Well, inshallah, we can continue this next time as well. In one hadith, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he mentions that if there's any gap left in between, then shaitan comes and stands in that gap. So we should fill that gap. And in one more hadith, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentions that a person who comes and completes a stuff, if there's a space in the row ahead and you step forward and you complete that stuff, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of this individual, right? Allah will send His mercy upon him. And the person who breaks the stuff, then Allah will break him, meaning Allah will remove His mercy from this individual. And in another hadith, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentions, this is the final hadith for today, that man sadda furjatan fi safin rafa'ahu Allahu biha darajatan, a person who completes a spot in a row ahead, Allah will raise him by one rank because of that action of his. Or bana lahu fiha baytan fil jannah, or He will build for him a house in Jannah. This hadith is in Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba. Sometimes when there's a space in the front, we have to say, brothers, please fit in the space, still nobody moves forward. And over here, this hadith is telling us that you do the simple action of completing the stuff ahead in the row ahead, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will what? He will either lift you by one rank in Jannah, or He will build for you a house in Jannah. That is why we should stand as close front as possible to the Imam. We should fill in the gaps if there's any gaps in the rows ahead. We should try and look for a space ahead without causing anyone taklif. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us tawfiq to act upon this important action. Inshallah, next week we'll speak more about this.